Alright, welcome back. Let's go ahead and try to get this solved. So, when I click play, currently, what's happening is that we are sharing a range. If we look at these bullets from the two towers, this one right here. So, the ranges overlap, and that way the bullets can be traveled between them. This range works, but not the one where we travel across shared ranges. So how can we fix this? Well, let's try to do it this way. We want to get a bullet range, this bullet range, to only work for that specific tower. How about I try for each tack shooter, we've already learned the for each thing, make the bullets disappear. Let's go ahead and try that. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and add a for each object. And this is going to be for each tack shooter for now. If the bullet distance to the tack shooter is not below the firing range, I'm going to delete the object bullet. So I'm going to move that down here. Let's go ahead and try that. But now we see here that the bullets disappear immediately. And this is because this bullet that is created is not within the firing range of this tack shooter. And that's going to be checked right here. Because let's look at the logic right now. For this tack shooter object, if the bullet distance to this tack shooter is not below this tack shooter's firing range. Well, when this one's created, this bullet, it is not below this tack shooter's firing range. So it's going to be immediately deleted. So obviously this is not a solution. Now, if I was to delete this tack shooter, well, obviously it works. But it's the same thing as what we had last time. So it doesn't quite work. We already got that working one at a time. We want to get multiple working. Alright, so I'm stuck a little bit. Now, basically, what do I really want to do? I need to find a way to essentially link a bullet that is created with the tack shooter that fires that bullet. Now, is there any way to connect the two, right? How do I link or connect a bullet to the tower that shot it? Or maybe my condition for deleting bullets should be different. So I'm going to go ahead and undo. Alright, so I'm back to what I had before. Well, let's go ahead and just look through all the conditions. Maybe there's something. You know, something about that I could use. Well, I spent some time before this looking through all my conditions and I found something. But I want you right now to go ahead and pause the video and I want you to browse all these conditions and see if you can find something that might work. Alright, so did you find anything? Well, when I was looking through this, I found something called linked objects. And it says take into account linked objects. Take some objects linked to the object into account for next conditions and actions. The condition will return false if no object was taken into account. So I went ahead and looked at documentation for this. Always look at documentation. Now sometimes the documentation is pretty bad, like the groups, but linked objects actually has some good, okay documentation. So go ahead and read that. Basically, allow us to make virtual connections between objects. We can later reference them by their links to each other. Typically, you can link two objects when creating them. So when I create an object, that's when I should link it. You can also use a for each object event to take each instance of an object individually and create links to other objects. So I can click this and it'll take me to for each, and we've already looked at this before. If you need a refresher, feel free to come here. But right now we have link to objects and all of this, and we have examples. So I went ahead and looked at the examples to try to find an idea of how to do it. And we see right here, when this is created and it's set to Z order, I link the whole, repeat for each whole object, to the magnet that is created. So I'm going to kind of copy this for my idea. So when I create, for each tack shooter object, when I create my bullet, I'm going to go ahead and look for linked objects. And I'm going to link two objects. What am I going to link? I'm going to link the bullet with tack shooter. Now you might have the question, well, how does it know which bullet and which tack shooter to link together? Well, if I look at this documentation, it seems that it is linking the object that is just created with the for each tack shooter. So that specific tack shooter, the tack shooter I'm on, is going to be linked with the bullet that is just created. Now I need to copy this and paste it in all these other places I create bullets. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And again, if you don't know how to look up documentation, if I go here, there's help for this documentation, and that takes me to the linked objects page. Alright, so I've added a link between a bullet that's just created and the specific tack shooter that I'm currently on for each tack shooter object. Now I need to add this linked condition. So right here, linked objects. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these objects. For each bullet, if the bullet is linked to the tack shooter, so the condition will return false if no object was taken into account. So this will be false. But if there is a bullet linked to the tack shooter, then if that bullet distance is not less than the firing range, I'll delete the object bullet. Let's go ahead and try that. Not quite. We still have a shared firing range. So let's look at the logic again. Remember, computers are dumb. They only do what we tell it to do. So, taking into account all bullet linked to tack shooter. Which tack shooter? Well, all the bullets linked to both of them, right? I'm considering both of them right now. If the bullet distance is not less than the firing range, then I'm going to delete object bullet. Well, if I'm currently considering all bullets, right, because I'm looking at all tack shooters, then of course they will share a firing range. So what I want to do is I want to add a for each object here. Let's go ahead and undo that. I want to add it up here. For each. And this is going to be for each tack shooter. And I'm going to move these conditions down. So I'm going to look at one tack shooter at a time. So let's say I look at this one right now. I'm going to take into account all bullet objects linked to this specific tack shooter, this one right here. If the bullet distance to this specific tack shooter is not below this specific tack shooter's firing range, I'm going to delete the bullet. Now again, what is different? I'm only taking into account the bullets linked to this tack shooter that were created from this tack shooter, and I linked it down here. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Awesome, I fixed my firing range. Right? The bullets disappear when they need to. Alright, so this video is a great introduction into linked objects and linking them. So whenever you need to link something, or whenever you need to say, hey, this came from this object, linking seems to be the way to go. Alright, we're learning a lot of stuff. We're learning a lot of tools we could use to build our games. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and apply this to the turret object and see if it still works. Hopefully it does, fingers crossed, but if it doesn't, we'll find a way around it.